What is up, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I'm Wingman Steve.
And I am Chris 183, and wow, this is going to be quite an episode, Steve. We have a brand new series that we get to introduce to all of you out there. I am super excited. You don't seem as excited as me.
I'm excited to hear you introduce it.
You seem like you're kind of like half as excited, but no. This is actually a label. We're going to talk about a label for this series that we've never really talked about before at length. I think maybe we've alluded to them. We've talked about maybe some bands that have been on this label before, but now we're going to celebrate it. We're going to celebrate it big. So I'm going to talk about what it is, and without further ado, it's Victory Records. Okay, so we're going to call this, Victorious. We're going to call it Victorious. I just made that up. Did you think that sounded good? Victorious?
I thought you were going to lead with Victorious.
What does that mean?
That's just like, you were going to say that first and then say it's Victory Records.
No, I just made that up. I just made it up.
You didn't make that up. We texted about that earlier today.
How do you know that? You don't know that.
I have the receipts.
Listen, so Victorious is what it's going to be called. I think it's apropos because I feel really good about this. I feel victorious about this new series because we get to talk about some bands again that I don't think that either you or I have really delved into a ton. Maybe there's some that we have, but a lot that we haven't. So it's going to be a really cool exercise, I think, for the show. And it's going to give us a lot of awesome stuff to talk about. Today, we're actually going to start things off. We're going to kick it off with a band that we've never actually brought up on the show before for an album spotlight, and that band is Bayside. And I'll tell you what I think about Bayside here in a second, but before I do, we do have a very special guest. As per normal with these series, we bring on special guests, experts, what have you, right, on the subject matter itself, or just big super fans of the band that we're talking about. And today we not only have a super fan of the band Bayside that we're going to talk about, and I'll get to the album in a second, but I'm really excited to introduce our guest. This is a brand new guest to the show. None of you out there have ever heard from him before, so it is with great pleasure I'm going to introduce to you Sam. Sam, welcome to High School Never Ends.
Hey, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Now, Sam, we brought you on to talk about Bayside and specifically the album The Walking Wounded, but again, we'll get to what we think about this album, but I want to know more about you, and so does everybody else out there. So just tell us, do you even care anything about pop punk music or this emo genre?
Oh, I do. Pop punk. It's in the veins. It's really going back to the earliest of music days for me, pretty much everything I've listened to. Right from the start. So started off really, MXPX is the band that really got me into just the pop punk or more punk scene, if you will. And really just kind of bloomed in the drive-thru era, started following tons of bands through that scene and have been following them since. Just Bayside being one of the bands that I got into a little later in the game, but overall still probably to this day one of my favorite bands. So super excited to talk about the album.
Awesome. Steve, you've been quiet.
That sounds very familiar. MXPX, Drive-Thru, expanded out. I mean, if you started with Blink and Green Day, that would have been the same as me, but you're pretty close. And yeah, Chris, you nailed it on the head. Bayside is a big band in this in our little scene here, and we have spoken fairly little about them. And maybe that's, I don't know your Bayside fandom, but I'll just kind of start and mine is kind of lacking. They're a band that I know have always been around and just one that I never dove into. So I'm excited to get into this and to talk about Victory Records.
Well, I'll just tell you this, that Bayside is a band that every time that somebody has played a song by Bayside for me, I've liked that song. I thought it was great. Every time. It didn't matter. And this is over the span of 8 to 10 years. And more recently, the new album came out, and I listened to that. I think I was hooked immediately. But it's funny that is the case, but I never took the time to go back and buy an album back then or listen to the whole album especially like the one we're talking about right now. Like the only Bayside album that I really have sat down to listen to recently before this was the new one. And I think that's a huge, huge mistake on my part. Did I just give myself away?
That's okay.
I think I did. Is
No
that the end
problem.
of the show? Is that
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Keep on rocking your. No. We can keep going.
Let's keep going. So, Sam, do you have anything else in terms of history with this band?
Yeah, so Bayside, funny enough, typically when I fall in love with a band, I'll fall in love with them pretty early on in their career. Bayside is one of the few that I didn't really get into until their Killing Time album, which is 2011. That album really caught my interest. Started following the band pretty much religiously from there. Got into a lot of their back catalog, and kind of interesting hot take for me, but with pop punk, not every singer in pop punk bands is typically great at singing. They may be great at pop punk, but just in general, not the best vocalist. And Anthony Ranieri is one of the few that I think has some of the strongest vocals in the scene. So it's really one of the things that I think caught my attention early on, and something that I really like about the band.
Yeah, I don't know if I can disagree. It's funny because I think what really attracts me to the style of the band itself is the way that he sings. Because it's not traditional in a lot of ways. I feel like his delivery is kind of a relaxed delivery. I don't know how to put it, but it just seems like he's always just so even with the way that he sings, but the music behind him is so unique and creative and kind of all over the place at times. But the lyrics, the lyrical delivery is always very just even keel for the most part. And when he doesn't do even keel and he goes highs or lows, it's a really cool sound. So I definitely agree with you that, the vocals are a big part of why I'm drawn to this band, but it's definitely more than that. There's way more than that. And again, we'll talk about that as we go song by song. So, Steve, anything else to add to what we're talking about here?
Yeah, just kind of listening, relatively new, I mean, I've actually caught these guys a handful of times in concert because they're like road warriors. I mean, they've been around for literally over 20 years. They've put out 9 full-length albums. So I've caught them opening for other bands that I was looking to see. When it comes to the vocals, yes, I enjoy them a whole lot. I feel like they're a mix. They're like a little bit Motion City Soundtrack and a little bit Front Bottoms, kind of like mixed together. And I like it.
That.
It's stuff that's like unique, and it kind of keeps you guessing. And I think both of those vocalists in those bands are very good. So yeah, I was pretty impressed on my first go around.
Yeah, and they don't sound anything like New Found Glory, and I'm happy about that too.
I would say it's quite different than New Found Glory.
Yes.
I'll agree to being different from New Found Glory, but I don't know that it's better. New Found Glory is pretty solid, Chris.
Yeah. Steve, Sam is a fan of New Found Glory.
New Found Glory is pretty solid. I agree.
Yeah.
Bayside and New Found Glory are super close. They tour quite often.
We can agree to disagree. How about that?
I think a lot of these bands in this era that toured with Bayside, they seem to be like, I watched some videos with them, some documentary stuff. They seem to be like really cool dudes, and some crazy stuff went down in their lives right before this album. I'm sure we'll get to it, but just wanted to kind of touch base. The way that these albums that we're going to talk about this month are kind of connected is through Victory Records, right? I didn't grow up with any predilection towards Victory Records. I wasn't like, oh shit, somebody's new on Victory, I need that record, like I kind of did with Drive Thru. However, when you kind of look at their artist history, they've signed a lot of good bands. They did a lot of like metal and emo and that screamo kind of stuff. They were founded actually in 1989 by Tony Brummel in Chicago. They've had some of the bands that at least that you guys and me that I knew looking at the list would be like Thursday, Hawthorne Heights, Silverstein, Taking Back Sunday, Streetlight Manifesto, A Day to Remember is a little newer, Spitalfield. So they've got an artist roster or former roster that is pretty cool. So that's why we're picking out these albums this month, and a couple of them are picked by Chris, a couple of them are picked by me. So we'll see what we got over the next 4 weeks. But I would say, just doing a little research about Victory Records, one of the interesting things to me is that there's like a lot of like prominent lawsuits against Victory Records. So like Hawthorne Heights, A Day to Remember, and Streetlight Manifesto all had like separate like lawsuits that were, I mean, I don't know how high profile, but somewhat high profile, that they would make a Wikipedia page and there are internet articles written about them. So I don't know that I have, again, there's nothing that like sits in my heart where like I love this record label or anything, but I think that they did sign a bunch of really cool bands and put out some cool albums. So that's why we're putting them together and we're doing some album spotlights.
Well, that said, let's play the game that I like to play. And Steve, I don't know if you're going to be able to play this, but Sam, you might. So we play a little game called, I don't think we have a name for this game, but it's basically the number of streams. So what's the number one song with the most streams by the band Bayside? And I would say by this album, on this album, but I don't see any in the top 5. So that said, that kind of ruins the whole game, but you can still tell me what you think the number one song is by Bayside in terms of streams on Spotify.
That's why the game doesn't have a name, because we can't play it properly.
The name of the game is what's the number one song on Spotify with the most streams?
Dude, that is
not on the current album
game
that
title
we're talking about.
If this was a board game, you would need a really long box. I know the answer, so I cannot play, because this was actually a question in Jeopardy.
And my initial guess would have leaned towards a song on this album, but since you gave that away, I'm going to go with Devotion and Desire.
I gave it away because I'm nice, and I want you all out there to understand how nice I am, because that actually helped Sam hit it right on the head. That is correct. That is the number one most streamed song by Bayside on Spotify at 30,534,385 streams. That's a lot of streams. 30 million, right? That's maybe not a billion like somebody like an Avril Lavigne has, right?
And what album was that one off of? Sam, do you know?
That was from an album.
I want to say that might have been their self-titled.
It was from Bayside, yes.
Okay, so that was before this. That was before this one, because I was gonna say maybe one of the newer ones gets more streams because there's more people streaming and they used to buy CDs, but that would be an incorrect assessment on my part.
Now, one of the reasons why I chose this album was because over the years, I think this is the one that most people had suggested that I listen to songs from. So it just seemed like it was appropriate for us to do this one first, because we always kind of like to do the one that potentially is the most popular, quote unquote. But I guess we'll find out, right, on whether we feel that way or not as we talk about it. But before we do, anything else on history or stats, Steve? I want to jump into it, but I don't want to cut you off.
Well, I mean, Bayside is from Bayside, Queens, which I'm very, very familiar with. I used to go to an arcade in Bayside, Queens, and the movie theater in Bayside, Queens. They were formed in 2000, so I might have been in Bayside at the same time as these guys. It is possible. Queens is in New York, if anybody doesn't realize this. The album itself came out February 6th, 2007. Obviously, it's on Victory Records. It was produced by Shep Goodman and Kenny Giola. As a result of this, these guys got to play on Conan. They actually said that this is, while it wasn't their first record, it's their third. They did say that this one kind of jump-started their career. It did debut at number 75 on the Billboard Top 200. It sold over 69,000 copies. And of course, there was a pretty horrible accident back in 2005, a car accident. You guys know about the whole story where their drummer passed away in this car accident?
No.
I do.
Yeah, a lot of musicians talk about this. I was actually just listening to the Punchline podcast, the band called Punchline, and they referenced this. But in 2005, the band was leaving somewhere snowy. I think they were on their way to Salt Lake City. They might have been in Montana or Nebraska or something, and the van hit a patch of ice and flipped over. And their drummer passed away. His name was John Beats Holohan. I hope I pronounced the last name properly. Probably not. But yeah, he passed away. The other guys in the band had like some pretty fucked up injuries. They were in the hospital. And that's, I think, why they titled this record The Walking Wounded, because this is the first record that they put out. They had to, recruit a new drummer and really kind of move on from losing like one of their best friends. So I think that Anthony had said the lyrics on this one can tend to be a little darker than maybe some of the more previous stuff. I personally don't know because I'm not too familiar with everything else, but this was a tough time in their lives, and for them to decide to keep being a band and to put together this record and to have it be successful and have them be able to keep being a band for 20 more years is pretty awesome. But it was put together like after some pretty unfortunate personal circumstances.
Interesting. When I first heard of the band Bayside, I did not put them in the East Coast anywhere. I did not feel like that was a New York name. I thought Bayside was more like California, like the Bay, or like San Francisco, or San Bernardino.
I don't think San Bernardino is that Oceanside? I don't know. Or Bay?
Sorry. It is not.
San Jose.
So you want to know something? You want to know something interesting about the name Bayside?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know. Fact check me. This may or may not be true, but the story I've heard is that as a band, they were driving to a New Found Glory concert with the goal of giving New Found Glory a demo disc CD, and they didn't have a band name. And on the drive there was a train that passed by that had Bayside written on it. They wrote that. That's how they picked the name, wrote it on the album, and history at this point.
Interesting.
Fact check me though. I may be wrong, but that's the story I've heard.
So that train could have been from California. So in essence, I could be right. It could have been from a San Dimas or something like that. Is that in California?
San Dimas is a made-up city that the Ataris made up for their song.
So says you, but we don't really have any proof of that, do we?
Well, I know that I'm wikiing over here. Anthony Raniere, he grew up in Queens, so Queens. Yeah, it's related to Queens, New York for sure.
I think he might have spent some time in California, like before, like real young.
Oh, actually, the wiki confirms this. The band got its name, went on their way to a New Found Glory show on Long Island with the intention of giving New Found Glory a demo CD, and they were trying to think of a name to write on the CD. Yeah, there you go. They passed the Bayside train station and decided to write Bayside on the CD simply as a name for New Found Glory, but then it became permanent.
Hey, there you go.
The Bayside Train Company is actually very well known in the San Diego area of California.
So if Chris started a band, he would call it Pittsburgh. Hello, I am the drummer of Pittsburgh.
Actually, that's a great idea.
I'm sure you'd blow up there.
Just there's nobody that has that right now. That's amazing.
All right, I'll give you that idea for free, but the next one's going to cost you.
You want to talk about this album?
I think so. Yeah, let's do it. Anything else before we start? Or we're good?
No, Sam. Anything else?
Ready to roll.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Guests are always first, so actually they're not, but I'm making an exception. Let's talk about that first track, the titular track, "The Walking Wounded." Sam, what did you think about the opening track to this album?
Solid opener overall. Something that I think really stands out to me with Bayside beyond this album, but also with this one included, is aside from vocals, they got some killer guitarists. And Walking Wounded was just such a solid track. They got layered with tons of guitar solos. And we got a cameo from Vinny from I Am the Avalanche that really just, I think, makes the song stand out so much. Hands down, probably one of the top 5 tracks for sure on this album. But overall, as a album opener, I think it's a solid fit.
Sam, we're going to ask you, I don't know how many episodes of our show you've listened to, but at the end, we're going to put things in order. So don't, keep that, you didn't give it away, but, keep it in the pocket. About that. Okay, good. You're aware.
Yeah.
The first thing that I get when I put this CD on, I say CD, but obviously it's not a CD for me, It's Spotify. And is it the production and the mix is just starkly different than shit nowadays, right? We listen to like Blinks One More Time, and actually maybe I'll ask you guys because I haven't listened to the new CD, even though people have spoke up its praises. I wonder if the mix is different, but you can just hear like the more raw, 2007-ish sound. Like they're not trying to make it like, obviously it's a professional recording, but it doesn't have that like finished, like perfect quality that like albums now do. Did they switch that around in the new album?
I agree with you 100% on that for this album. I almost described it as kind of like a muffled sound to it. It's kind of hard to describe, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And no, it doesn't carry over into the later albums. It's definitely something that they moved away from.
Okay. Well, this song, the titular track, "The Walking Wounded," it's got this kind of like circusy sound to it at first in the very beginning. I don't know, like I've heard that a couple of times, but I know that they were trying to like just do some different shit here, which is pretty good. And you guys mentioned the singer and the way that he delivers his vocals, and I wrote down nonchalant, because that's kind of what it sounds like. Like a lot of times, he's not necessarily just like trying too hard. He's just singing, but he sounds good. So I thought it was relatively different than a lot of the stuff that I would put them in the same category as. The guitar line in this song is very strong. There's a very sick guitar shred in the bridge. I think Jack O'Shea is the lead guitarist, so we'll give him some props. It's funny that I initially wrote down when I was listening or writing down some notes that I didn't think the chorus was like that strong, but I really think that after I listened to this like 10 or 15 times, it has grown on me like big time. Overall, like really enjoyable. Does it like rock my socks off? Like not necessarily, but it's a really good song. Towards the end, they drop out, they add this piano, which is pretty cool. So you see a lot of different stuff. And yes, Vinnie Caruano from the movie Life. That's what I would say. But, to each their own. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But I think it's a pretty solid kickoff.
Why do you think that people use that term, rock their socks off? Like, do socks fall off if you like walk around or jump too hard? Or what's the deal with that?
Possibly.
Is that tied to like the sock hop thing that you talked about before?
Sam, Chris is like obsessed with sock hops. I don't know why he keeps bringing it up.
No, we only brought it up like 2 times. What are you talking about?
I don't even know what sock hop is.
Well,
I like to
Chris's
keep my
boat
socks. I like to keep my socks on. Like I wear socks with all of my shoes. I
even
do not
sandals?
like to know. Yes.
Wow.
That's in. No, that's in these days. Come on now.
Ugh, I don't care if it's in.
That's bussin'.
I'm not. Oh gosh, you're not allowed to say banger. You know that.
I'm not. I didn't say it. Did I say it?
Just pre-calling you out. I'm not wearing socks right now. In the summer, I don't wear any socks.
It's going to be hard not to say that on this episode because I want to say that word. I really do. But I made a note for myself and a sticker that says "Do not say that."
Is it on your computer?
It's on my page. It's on my manila envelope that I write down my notes.
Oh, I thought it was maybe like a Burger King bag this time.
No, you can't see anything on that. You can't see anything on that. Boy, it's quite a thing to start off with a 4-minute song. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty brave. You don't see that very often, do you? Usually it's a quicker song or just a hard hitting, like, 2.5, 3-minute song that most bands start with. But this one really, they decided, hey, let's just go all in with this one. And usually I'd say that's not the way you want to start things off because you want to start it off with a little bit more up tempo, just a quick, hey, this is us. But man, they do not disappoint in these 4 minutes and change with what they give us because they still set the tone for what this band is and who they are and the sound that they're going to bring your way. And they do it masterfully. And on top of that, they mix in circus music with this particular track. And how about that? How about that? I haven't heard that since, I don't know, who else does that? Panic at the Disco? They seems like they're the only other band that would do that.
They do the vaudeville kind of thing on that first album, yeah.
Like the like that.
I'm sorry, can you do that again?
I did it once. You heard it. You know, it's funny that you talk about the lyrical stylings here. I like the way you put it, you know, nonchalant. I think that's the way that I sing too. That's kind of my style. So I relate to a lot of what he's trying to do here. You know what I mean?
You can relate personally to Anthony Ranieri.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But aside from that, this song is just jam packed with awesome stuff, in my opinion. You got pianos, you got this shredding. They just shred the guitar during the solo. In my opinion, of course, there's going to be some guitarists out there that say, "Oh, that's pretty simplistic, man. What are you talking about?" Like, that's fine, man. But I'm just listening to the song and I love it, right? I love it. And the guitar melody, which is a mainstay on this album, is amazing to me. Sometimes things just click in my brain, and this song just clicked in my brain when I heard it for the first time. They just do so many cool things here. And did you say chugging guitar riff? Because if you didn't, normally that's your word, Steve. I think it is a chugging guitar riff, and I think it works perfectly here. And the way that it kind of runs into that solo, I think there's one piece of the song where they do that chugging guitar riff, and that's where it runs into that guitar solo. I love that. I love that transition there. So big deal for me in that part. And we already talked about the singer, so I'm not going to bring that up again, but the uniqueness of the delivery just is kind of like icing on the cake. So I was a big fan of this one. The Walking Wounded.
Can I counterpoint something that you mentioned?
Yes.
Counterpoint. So the song is 3:45, and it's actually the third shortest song on the record. So I wonder if they're just used to, like, maybe they're more of a, 3.5 to 4.5 minute type band rather than like a 2.5 to 3.5 minute type band. And I don't know the whole discography. Sam, maybe you can chime in. Are they typical for having like little bit? I mean, 4 minutes not too long, but in the pop punk world, it's a little bit.
No, I would say 3 minute mark, 3:30 is probably a typical Bayside song. They're not known for anything super lengthy.
Well, then maybe they were just kind of, going opening up the world here on this record and trying to do some extra stuff.
Something they are known for that's, I think, really kicked off with this album is that vaudeville kind of circusy type music or flow. It's carried well into some of their other albums. And from my standpoint, probably one of the few bands that's done it well. I wasn't personally a big fan of the Panic at the Disco version of it, but I like how Bayside does it.
I don't like how you guys took the circus away from me and you keep trying to say vaudeville. Like, that's not the same thing. Like, I hear this music at the circus that I went to. Barnum and Bailey.
Ringling Brothers.
Oh, isn't it both?
Yes.
I can't believe
we're getting back into this. Yeah.
We had this conversation before.
Skip that. Cut that.
Cut that. That's actually in this album too, and we'll get to that. Steve. They're not horses, they're unicorns. It's something that kind of, I think, maybe our daughters would have said at one point in time.
I was in the car playing this album today.
Sam also has a daughter, so maybe the same thing.
All right.
3 of them.
3. Oh my. I just have the one. And I showed the song was playing and I'm like, read that line or read what the song is called. And I don't know, she was kind of confused. She didn't really get it, but I think this is a very, very good song. So I like the dental references in the first opening verse. I kind of work in the dental environment in my real job, so I kind of got the pulling teeth and on the Novocaine you pump in your cheeks. I thought that was pretty good. It's got the pre-chorus chorus is very strong. It's got a very cool, unique cadence to it. Again, I love these guys, just from listening to this album, are very good at this pre-chorus, chorus, sometimes post-chorus type of thing. I like how the chorus, it kind of keeps going. Like, you think it might stop, but it's kind of long. And then it gets into like kind of a headbangy section. A lot of tempo changes in this one, really trying different stuff out. And I think it's just a really good song. I think that 1, 2, we got a good punch here. I'm a fan.
You're right, spot on this one, man. I'll tell you what. First of all, back to the daughter thing, because we sometimes we have to pull in the pop punk dad nature of the show here. My daughter, my daughters, but the older one we're gonna leave out of the conversation. The younger one is the one that like unicorns. Now it's like you can't even talk about that anymore. It's like she got rid of all her unicorn stuff. It's like, Dad, I don't want this anymore. I'm like, why? Who cares? Like, it's just a unicorn. Like, do you really have to just purge everything that you have unicorns?
Well, she's like 12 now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I would so like it's not for like baby. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, just you like what you like. If you like unicorns, like in the shows, grown women ride unicorns and grown men. So what's
it might just be something that little girls grow out of, like mermaids or.
Do you like mermaids?
Me?
Yes.
No, I don't particularly care for mermaids. No.
Why?
I don't know. Just not a fan. I liked that one movie, The Cabin in the Woods, where there was like a merman.
Whoa, I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
It's from like 15 years ago. It's
Dude,
pretty
no
it's pretty
spoilers.
sick. There's a good merman in there, so.
Okay.
Or like,
okay.
Zoolander, merman. But that's where my mermaid affinity comes to a conclusion.
I think this song has just the right mix of that harder sound with the melodic, just the right mix. Like they just skirt that line, and I love it. The question and answer nature of the verse, and when I say question and answer, I mean you have lyrics and then you have guitar, lyrics, guitar. Like I love that back and forth. I always do, but again, I'm here for it when I hear it. And these guys, again, already kind of sold me in that first song. So when you come to the second one, and they add in another aspect of something else I like in song makeup, it just takes it to another level. And I think you already said it. Like it picks up great at the chorus to kind of offset that tempo, that question answer. You talked about pre-chorus, post-chorus, but I think that the chorus, when it does pick up in contrast, definitely adds another dynamic to the song that makes it great. So once again, I think they followed up that first track with one that was pretty different, but just as awesome. So Sam, what did you think?
I couldn't agree with you guys more on this one. Super solid track. When Wingman Steve, when you mentioned the mix of this album, got to be honest, it's not something I love. Just overall with the album. So for songs to really stand out as just real strong banger track, this is one of them. Love how this song closes, especially with I Wish We Never Met. Kind of closing line really strong. And funny enough, the dental reference there, Anthony Ranieri has had some pretty jacked up teeth going for a pretty long stretch of their career. And you can almost hear the limitation in his vocals in some of these songs. This one in particular really stood out to me. And you can, when you listen to some of their later albums, you can really compare how much fixing his teeth or just his overall jaw and mouth has really made such a big change in his vocal range. So I like that there's some of this is still captured in some of their old albums before all of that stuff happened. And this is one of those that really stood out to me as one of the stronger tracks.
Take care of your teeth out there. Go to the dentist. Sure. It's a good idea.
I think that's what's holding me back from really becoming a great vocalist versus like a good one.
I mean, I don't find your teeth jacked up. Do you want to give us a smile? Can we?
Well, it's not that, but like my jaw could be a little bit more aligned, I think is what it is.
Okay, well, you can go have that checked out. Your occlusion might be off. Sorry, dental term there.
It probably is, and so this is the solution to everything right now. I mean, I can do emo karaoke like you've been asking me to do for years now. Once I get that done,
I guess we'll see. Mm-hmm. We shall see. But Chris, I think it's your turn to kick off a track. Duality, number 3.
Hey,
this is the cleanup spot.
Listen, I don't have a lot to say on this one, but it definitely has a star by it. It has 1 star by it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's not 2, it's 1, but 1's very good. This is due in part to the fact that this song has quite an amazing chorus, and that's what kind of sells me the most on it. But I'll tell you what, the verse, the music that I hear in the verse, I couldn't really put my finger on what I thought. The word that came to my head, and bear with me, hear me out, is suspenseful. It sounded suspenseful the way that it kind of sounded. And that was really cool. Like I don't think that I've heard that in a song before, kind of just like that. And I think it goes back to what I said before we got into the album, is the creativity and the way that they put together these guitar tracks and riffs is, I don't want to say one of a kind, because that's not necessarily true, but they do some really, really unique things here that I don't hear all the time in pop punk music or emo music or whatever, right? So that said, like, you have that difference between the verse and the chorus. The melody once again clicked with me, so I was sold almost from the beginning. And the tempo just kind of adds to the fact that this is a song that energizes me. It makes me feel good. It makes me get up. And I always love that. So duality for me, like, this song flies by and it's so smooth. It's just like butter the way that it sounds. So I am all in on this song. Guys, I wonder if you were as big of a fan as me. Sam, what did you think?
I agree. A good song overall. It's definitely one of their standout songs. You see Bayside live. This is a crowd pleaser for sure, especially with anybody out there, anybody calling. But overall, I'd say that of their hits, quote unquote hits, this is probably one of my least favorite, but still a very solid track overall. No complaints.
Yeah, this one was actually released as like the single. So, it's in that number 3 spot. And I think this one is probably the one best set as a single for the record, if they're trying to, I don't know, get it on radio or whatever they're trying to do. I agree with that. I made this note here, and I don't really know if it fits in with like my thoughts of this song, but maybe I should rewind it and cut that, and go back to like just my overall feelings. And I think that sometimes I just kind of have a little trouble putting these guys in like a genre box. Like, we keep talking, pop punk and stuff like that, but like sometimes they sound pop punk, sometimes they sound hardcore, sometimes like I think a lot of this record might have been inspired by like 90s alternative music, because there's that. I feel like there's a lot of that in here. Not Again, I wrote this down at the wrong spot on my papers, but anyways, I feel like they're not like one kind of thing. And maybe if I listen to all 9 albums, maybe I'll have a better, more definitive thought on that. But this song, I mean, listen, in the chorus, the harmonies are great. Like, if you're trying to take like a song to radio or make a song a single, like, throw some harmonies behind the chorus. It's fantastic. This is maybe one of the first ones where I thought that the vocals sounded very Motion City soundtrack, and that is not a bad thing, because I really like, what's his name, Justin Pierre's voice. And I thought this one was also very strong. I guess that's it.
You know who is a 90s alternative band?
I could hear a little Weezer influence here. I know you love to talk about Weezer, but like sometimes you can kind of hear that in some of the stuff.
How do you know I was going to say like Live or something? You say Weezer.
Yeah, you're going to be like, Pearl Jam. No, I know how your brain works.
Pearl Jam was grunge.
It's been like 200 and something episodes. Like, I know where you're going.
There's definitely something to what box they fit into, for sure. I agree with that. If you look at a lot of their tours, Bayside tours with a lot of heavier bands. There's not a lot of bands outside of like a Newfound Glory that they really toured with. So I can definitely see that the influence probably leans a little heavier on the alternative side.
Well, that might actually be a result of the record label, though, because remember, Victory had a lot of more hardcore bands, and I watched like a 20.
True.
We were talking right before. I watched this like 20-minute documentary that's on YouTube, and there's a few of them about this album. But they had said like they kind of, up until this point, they're having a hard time building like a steady like fan base, because they weren't touring with bands that were like them. They were touring with harder bands because that's where their label was. But I know they did a lot of tours with, like Punchline and Hawthorne Heights. And I think those guys probably are a little closer to what they are. I'm trying to look. So I saw them in 2004. So I guess that was the very beginning of their career. I saw them. It was Mest, Hawthorne Heights, Bayside, and Punchline. I saw them in 2008. They opened for the Starting Line, and 4 Year Strong was on the bill. So they probably found their lane a little bit at that point. And then in 2012, I saw them open for Taking Back Sunday's, what was it, Tell All Your Friends 10-year tour or something like that.
So funny you mentioned that tour with the starting line in 2008 skipped Los Angeles for I think it was Bamboozle that they performed at for the Los Angeles stop. My first Bayside show was 2009, where they opened for Newfound Glory and Set Your Goals.
So they listen. They found. I think they found their touring partners maybe a little bit later on. They had said that they toured a lot with Anne Berlin. Anne Berlin, I think, is a little bit harder, but yeah, Mass Hawthorne Heights, Punchline, Bayside. That's a pretty fucking good show in 2004, if you ask me.
That is a solid show.
I like Anne Berlin.
You do.
I do.
Put it on the list for something to talk about.
You know, it's one more thing on that. So, you know, the fans, and I don't want to obviously put those fans into a certain category, but the fans of the harder core stuff generally like what they like. You know, I see that. I don't know. Like if we go back to the Four Chord Music Fest, like A Day to Remember was on. I didn't think a lot of the people that were there to see them were there earlier in the day to see the rest of the bands. Like it seemed like people came later in the day for that, and you were there for that, right, Steve? Like you didn't leave before that, so.
No. Yeah. So towards the end of that day, was a day to remember, and not State Champs. The band that Stu is like obsessed with now. Story So Far. We just did some albums. So I feel like those guys probably. I think people maybe I mean, there was a stark difference in the amount of people that were there in the afternoon compared to the evening.
Yeah. So I mean, it feels like if this band would have toured with a band like that, do you think the crowd just wouldn't be into it? I don't know. Like,
it's hard to say.
It just depends on the person, I guess. I don't know. If you're one of those people that like them both, let me know. Actually, I'm one of those people that like them both.
Yeah. I'm kind of mad at myself for seeing these guys a handful of times and never being like, hey, I should like listen to some of this shit and get more into it. I don't know. Maybe I was just at the bar or something when they played because I was looking for other bands. I don't know what was wrong with me.
You're welcome. So
Never too late.
You could thank me for that. I helped you.
It is not too late. Although I do feel like it's quite the task to like catch up on 9 albums, but there's nowhere to start except on the first one. So here we are.
You can carry on. You know what, Sam? You haven't done one. You haven't started us off in a couple songs. So why don't you kick us off for the next one?
Oh, what a song you picked for me to kick off. Carry On. Fan of Bayside, not a fan of this song. The one thing that really stands out to me about this song that just it exists throughout the entire album, but for whatever reason in this particular track, I just did not feel like it fits well, is the layered vocals. There's, I guess, more or less a harmony, if you will, but I am just such a big fan of Anthony's voice that when the entire song is just filled with that layered vocal, it just doesn't sit right with me. And yeah, just the overall flow of this song, not a terribly big fan. Definitely not something that I think is suited for the 4th spot on an album.
Steve?
I may disagree. I think that the way that this song is kind of constructed is that there's a lot of different sections, right? So it starts off kind of this like pick it up, like quick pace. Then it slows down. I think the vocals and the guitar to me make the chorus stand out. But then I end up looking at what they're saying and what they're repeating, and I have a trouble figuring out like what is the chorus, because there's like, it seems like there's a second chorus that's like the bridge because it repeats a couple times. So there's several different repeating sections, and there's a lot of different like tempos and stuff to these sections. So if I'm trying to dissect it as like a song and figure out what the structure is, like I'm not exactly sure where I'm going, but in terms of like listenability, I find it a very easy listen. I think this one, I think that, you know, the carry on, I mean, they have that, there's the hook, like that hook is there, but again, then they kind of like change it, they go back to it. So I think they're just trying some different stuff that doesn't fit in the mold. And I have a comment about the mold that I'll save for later. But I really like this one. I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too. I thought that this song, once again, kind of just flowed for me. It was easy to listen to, similar to what Steve said. I actually was a fan of the way that the tempo shifted. I questioned myself on that too. I said, does this tempo shift a lot? Like, am I just imagining things? But I believe it does. And I'm into that. I'm into that if I'm right, which I am. And of course, I think they do another great chorus here with another just good melody, right? They continue to churn that out, and this song's no different. I could see myself singing along to this at any point in time. And usually the carry on piece, I'm fickle about repetitive nature of things, and sometimes when I hear the same thing over and over again, I'm just like, whatever. But I actually I heard myself like kind of singing along to that last piece where he repeats carry on over and over again. It's that good. It's the melody behind it, the way that it's delivered. It just works for me. So even though this one was only, once again, 1 star, definitely was another very enjoyable song.
Sam, you look like you had like some counterpoint or something. You were like contemplating getting out or holding in.
He was surprised.
No, not so much a counterpoint. This one's I think my stance stays firm on it in terms of it just not being one of my favorite tracks on the album. I can agree to some of those points for sure, but just wasn't my thing.
No worries. All right. Well, I is the next one. I don't want to kick this off. Chris, you want to kick it off?
Oh,
you
man.
and you, I and I.
This one gets 2 stars, guys. 2 stars.
Don't try and figure out his There's no legend to the Chris 183
I was like, wait.
system. There's checks, there's stars, there's boxes, there's I don't know what else.
I am
2
stars. That's right. 2 stars. We'll say it one more time. And I am so proud of where I am. The way that he just hits that proud in that line just gives me goosebumps. It was delivered so well in this song. Guys, if you've never heard this song before, and I'm not talking to Sam and Steve because you definitely heard this song because you're on the show, but if you're out there and never heard this one, turn this on. This is the one you need to listen to. I love this song. It's just like, the melody here, the steady strumming during the chorus is amazing. I love the way that the guitar just continues to just hit like just that steady strumming. I can't do that. That makes my hand tired. It always did during Guitar Hero. I remember when I used to have that steady strumming, but it sounds so good and the melody's so on point, and that awesome distorted, I call it, it's not a guitar solo, but the distortion on the guitar during when the guitar is semi solo by itself, and when he starts going into the 1-in-1 lyric, that part is just chilling to me. It's just it's another level, and then it comes back at the end to kind of what it was at the beginning, kind of like that fast pace. It gives me all the feels. This song hits on all the chords for me. So 1-in-1, it deserves that 2 stars. Steve,
are you saying 1-in-1?
1-in-1. One, and is it I and I?
It's I and I.
It's I and
Okay,
I.
well, you know what? It doesn't matter. I see a 1.
I guess one could confuse an I and a 1. That's okay.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Like, you're trying to take this song away from me now, and
I'm not trying to take it away from you. I'm just trying to make sure you know what it's called.
Music is an art form, and it's all in the eye of the beholder.
I think 1-in-1 is a basketball term.
No, that's and 1.
Also true.
I think 1-and-1 might be. I don't know.
No, you're thinking of 1-on-1.
There's a lot of things, but this is I and I.
It's 6 of one, half dozen of another. Come on now.
Does that change the star rating? Now that it's not 1-in-1?
It's apples and oranges, guys.
I mean, there's a part where he repeats the words I and I, we're taking control of our lives like 6 times.
Here's what I don't understand. I was so passionate about this song. You saw how excited I was, and you tore that away from me by this conversation. I just tore it away.
Very distracted when you just called the song 1-in-1.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of lyrics. People misunderstand lyrics all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you guys might be on that side of misunderstanding it, because to me, that's a 1. That's a 1. Now, what the thing about it is that you're not really seeing is that because the song, it's kind of it's ironic that it's 1 and 1, but in the song they say I am I. So I think it's a play on kind of words and numbers that they're putting in front of us. I read that somewhere.
I think you're just pulling stuff out of your buttocks there.
No, I did.
So I like songs that are like bands talking about being a band. You know, he comes off, I've got a stage and a mic, which I use things to say you won't like. I enjoy that kind of stuff. Some of the stuff in this song I like. I'm not as enthusiastic about I and I as Chris is. The chorus, I think, is what it just doesn't blow me away. It's not as exciting, I don't think. But I do really like the cadence of the verses. I feel like he's saying these run-on sentences and they kind of just keep going. And then in that I and I part, kind of towards the end, there's this like, it's like a gang vocal feel, but it's not gang vocals. Like it just has that kind of sound to it, along with the distorted guitar in the background. And I do like how it ends with that just like acoustic guitar strum, and then it's just out. So I enjoyed it. It wasn't not as enthusiastic as Mr. Chris over there though.
I'm right. I think I'm sandwiched right in the middle between you two on this. A lot of the same things that you two like are the things that I like about this song. This is the one song, kind of to contradict what I said about the last one, where I think the layered vocals actually kind of work a little bit more. I like the chorus a lot for this song. The gang vocals, if we want to call them that, definitely stood out. And for me, on any Bayside track, just given how strong of a guitar player they have, whenever the heavy guitars really stand out to me, that's something I really appreciate about them too. So overall, solid track. A lot of the same things that you guys pointed out that I think are the highlights for me.
All right. Chris, why are you so pissed? So pissed.
So disappointed.
So pissed. He's always
Both of
so
you.
pissed. Choice hops and bottled self-esteem.
I think it's choice hoops.
Okay. I'm going to take song title advice from you over there. This is a great song title, by the way. Choice hops and bottled self-esteem. I really like a lot of the lyrics in this track. I think when he says, I think I fell in love with someone worse than me, and I love you to death, I don't think I like you anymore. Very interesting. And the chorus talking about the healing power of alcohol. There are these like O's in the background, which are very, very pleasing to the ear. Another kind of Motion City soundtrack-esque. And again, I'm making a comparison. I'm not saying they're the same, but that's a good thing. And I like that. And I'm always a fan when they take a chorus and then the second time around they like expand it and like add an extra little bit to it. The only thing that I will say is that the drums in this track should be louder. There are a couple really cool drum parts. There's this like kind of marching to the end of the song, and mixing wise, I feel like the drums were louder, or maybe everything should have been louder, but the drums sounded like they were fucking kicking ass and they weren't loud enough. So that would be my one ask.
Sam?
I agree with a lot of that. I've definitely lyrically one of the stronger songs that I really gravitated towards. Healing Power of Alcohol only works on scrapes and nicks. Really stood out. With this song, I gotta say it's a good song overall. I think for me personally, looking back at some of my notes on this particular song, I think this was the first track that really stood out from a guitar solo standpoint, which I love. Anytime Jack O'Shea gets on a guitar solo in any Bayside track, it's usually a ripper. So overall, good song. Not the biggest hit overall, but something that definitely stands out amongst the rest.
All right. Okay, you guys make some decent points. I totally disagree with everything. I'm just going to disagree with everything from here on in. That's all. Unfortunately, but I'll tell you what. I love the lyric. I haven't talked much about lyrics yet, but the lyrics about how alcohol only helps, and I'm paraphrasing. Alcohol only helps scrapes and aches versus girls in seedy bars. I don't know. I thought that was clever, but it's a great song. I think there's a lot of good things. You guys kind of touched on some of it, but the drum roll for me, the drum roll at the end, that drumming at the end. See, I thought that the levels of the drums were perfect. I thought that it kind of being in the background added to the mystique of it. and I didn't want it to be too just front and center. I thought it needed to be more in the background, and it was such a good just display of drumming that I think it just fit it magically into the background is where it was. So I was into that, and that another great guitar solo on this one, and the melody once again just kind of kicked ass. I don't know. This one didn't get a star, but man, it was good. It was good. Did you hear what I so Steve? I
didn't get a star.
No, but I like that that line about scrapes and aches. I don't know if you caught that or not, but I thought that was clever. So
Like it too.
all right, well let's go ahead and move on to Head on a Plate. So yeah, it's a song that's very light and kind of uplifting. You have an uplifting background music to this song that kind of sounds like elevator music at times, but it's called Head on a Plate. So that's, interesting the way that you have that title and the sound that you're getting. I like it though. It's a cool start to the song. I love the line about the hipster empire of tomorrow. I think it's ended by what the children of today will inherit or something to that effect. I don't know really what that means, but I thought it was kind of cool. And I can't read my writing. Oh, I can read it now. It says it's kind of Weezer-esque at times, very sing-songy and innocent, and that's kind of where I drew that parallel. But again, the title Head on a Plate doesn't seem to match that. But hey, whatever, right? So what did you guys think?
Go ahead, Sam.
I like the overall rhythm of this song. I thought it was a really strong song. Any song where Anthony, they're so heavy with guitars typically on so many other tracks. Anytime you get that break where his vocals just really pop out and there's just a light guitar in the background, I'm a big fan of that. Just really like when his vocals stick out. And I may be wrong, but I believe this is the track that introduces the xylophone or something to that effect, kind of sprinkled throughout there that I thought worked really well with the overall song too. Pretty solid track. Am I allowed to give stars too? Can I give stars out, Chris?
You could
only check marks.
You can come up with something if you'd like. Sure.
2.5 check marks.
Is it now we have to explain the scale? Like how many is the total that are available? Like this is just getting out of hand.
Don't worry about it. Why you got to worry about it?
I have to understand what the ranking is.
And I got the lyric. It's the hipster empire of tomorrow will fall to the common kids of today. Is that actually what's going to happen?
It might.
It already did. This is 2007.
What do you think, Steve, about this song?
I love so it starts off with that picking guitar and the xylophone, really cool. Like this is without a doubt the most Motion City soundtrack of all their songs. And when it comes to the xylophone, that kind of mirrors the keys that they do, and the vocals are just so similar to Justin Pierre, and I love it. What a lovely day for a symphony, going up and down on those words. I feel like Motion City soundtrack could cover this, or they could whatever. I really like the pre-chorus into the chorus. It's that the pre-chorus, they're asking for my head on a plate. That's what sounds Weezer. That is super Weezer. But then they go into the Motion City soundtrack kind of version. I'm really, really not. And his vocals kind of bounce up and down. Not conceited, but it's where I'm not. It's all over the place. And it's really, really enjoyable. So I don't have any checks or stars or starbursts or anything like that. But I really liked this one. And the title didn't bug me. Head on a Plate is fine.
I was struggling with that Motion City comparison until you started singing it. Now I get it. I see it.
If you think about that one part, what a lovely day for a symphony full of fun. That's I don't know what song it is, but that's every Motion City soundtrack song.
Yeah, it's spot on. I can agree more now.
And they're all really good. That's another band that I didn't listen to back in whatever it was, 2006. And then we listened to them for the show, and I'm like, holy shit, this fucking band is great. I need to listen to more.
Yeah, solid.
They got a new one coming out soon.
I disagree.
About them having a new album coming out soon?
Disagree.
Are you trying You trying to slow us? What are you trying to say?
I just disagree. I don't know what I was going to say.
With what?
I don't know. With what you said.
All right, moving on.
I can't disagree. I thought we were
You
allowed to
can,
have
but
our...
you didn't follow it up with anything. You just said I disagree, and you stopped.
That's all I had to say.
Oh my god!
I'm trying to move the show forward.
You're trying to slow it to a halt. I'm kind of mad at this next song, to be honest with you, but it has nothing. It has nothing to do. Thank you for that. It has nothing to do with the actual song. It's because when I wrote down all of the tracks on our little outline, I forgot this one, and so when I pulled all the lyrics, I forgot to include this one, and then I had to go print it out on a separate piece of paper. So I was mad at it, and then I was even more mad because I was like, "Damn, this song is really good. I shouldn't be mad at the song." I think this one has the boppiest of choruses of anything on this album. Tons of those harmonies. Later on in the bridge, they kind of just like pause the action for a second and then just get right back into it. So, I mean, I was mad, but it was my fault. The song rocks. I do notice with this album, for the most part, except for that one, Sam, that we were talking about, there's a lot, almost everything is like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Not there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like they do that pattern a lot. And the pattern's the pattern for a reason. But, you know, when we're diving into it, sometimes it stands out more than others.
Sam?
Like mixed feelings with this song, honestly. I think overall the song is strong. Chorus, I think it starts off a little rough with I don't know how they found me. But then when it picks back up with the maybe if you fool the best of them, it really kind of brings me back into the song. I think it's a solid song overall, but probably one of the more forgettable songs on the album for me. Not to say that it was a bad one. I'd say 2 check marks on this one.
Oh my god!
I just had wait. You just gave the last song 2 check marks though.
2.5, Chris.
I didn't write that down, so I'm going off of memory. And you guys had me very, very upset from that one song. So I still haven't gotten over that yet. Still upset about that.
You got the name wrong, dude.
No, I didn't. I explained.
Move on.
I explained it. I don't have a lot to say on this one. I don't. I don't.
That's all you had to say.
I'd rather talk about that song before than this one. So, but okay, if we have to keep going. It's you ever get these songs on the show where it's like you get into the song, you like the song, it sounds good, but you just don't know what to say about it. Like I don't know if I had anything that I could pull out of this one that really would it wouldn't really articulate anything that would be of note to me. Like I just put another good song, fast tempo. Like that's all that came into my head. And normally, you know, like I have a ton of things to say. I just couldn't figure it out. But that doesn't mean I hated it or I disliked it. I really like this one. I'm more on the Steve camp on this one, even though we're pretty much disagreeing on everything today. But I really, really like this one a lot. And I don't know if it's just because it had a fast tempo. Probably not. It probably just was one of those songs again that I just had click with my whatever is in my brain that says, hey, this is good music. Keep listening to this. And that's probably what it was. It's just one of those things where that voice in my head was like, okay, this is it. This is what you want to listen to. Keep listening to songs like this. And I'm going to go with it, right? Because now comparing this to some other, to the other songs on the album that got stars or a little bit higher praise, I don't put it there, but it just continues the trend of songs that I would not skip on this album and that I could still enjoy if I just had this going from front to back. So Dear Your Holiness, nothing specific about the lyrics, not much of note, but still a really good song.
You ever listen to a song and can just tell where it might be in the track list? This felt like an 8 spot for me. I could totally see it being somewhere sandwiched in there.
I could have seen this one as like 10 or 11.
What about you, Chris?
But what if it was the first track? I mean, do you think that we'd be sitting here saying, "Oh my God, this is great! Look at how they've started things off." Chris is right. It's 1-1.
No, I don't see that happening.
I think you'd be saying all of those things.
I love how Chris had like nothing to say about the song, but talked for like 4 minutes about the song, but not really.
And now
anything
wants it
about
to
the
be the
song.
opening track.
Yeah, now he's moving it to number 1.
What are we talking about? Why are we why don't we focus on the music here? What are we focusing on?
We're trying. We're trying.
This is a song about. This is a podcast. This
Okay.
is a podcast about music, not about anything else that you're bringing up.
You really landed feet first on that one. You did good.
Hey,
Ayo.
I'm not a fan. We already talked about socks, and I definitely do not want to talk about feet. I'll tell you that much.
We don't need to get into that.
I don't. That's the end of it. That's the end of that conversation. Is this a ballad? I think it's a ballad.
Maybe.
I think it's like
the half ballad.
I think it's like couldn't you see yourself at like a dance, like at the 9th grade dance, slow dancing to this with somebody?
Not really.
If this came on and somebody said, "Hey, do you want to slow dance?" You'd say no.
I guess it depends who it was and how much I wanted to slow dance with that person anyway.
What if it was a person that you wanted to slow dance with?
Then I'd probably say yes no matter what.
But you could definitely slow dance to this song, is what I'm saying.
I'm not exactly sure where we're going.
Well, that's what I was thinking when I was coming up with the opinion that this could be a ballad. Is I was thinking of myself slow dancing to this song, and I can see it. Could see it happening.
With Steve?
No.
No. I was a little confused.
No.
We're all confused, Sam.
We're confused. But I do want to point out also that I don't know what the opinion of this podcast is about AOs. I know that there are no oohs or ahs or what wayos or whatever else you like, but there's AOs, and that's something new. So
What's the other one you can't say?
Oohs or ahs?
No, earlier was it banger?
He's not allowed to use that terminology.
I can't say it. Yeah, can't say it. I made a pact to myself and to all of our people to listen to the show out there that I would never say that word ever again.
Well, I think I dropped one of those earlier. So,
well, you're allowed to.
It's okay.
I'm just not allowed to.
Yeah, I'm allowed.
You're allowed to. So that's all I have to say. I didn't mind this one. This probably was kind of like middle of the road for me, but I thought it was kind of an interesting ballad in a lot of ways because it wasn't traditional. But I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't top of the list for me, and it had an AO.
I agree with you. Maybe not exactly the same reasons. You know, it's got that kind of like single note guitar thing at the beginning, and like I like what they do when they finally do like kind of come in a little bit more. But I think that the slow parts are just a little bit too slow for me, and it didn't really move me. I didn't think the AOAO chorus. I'm fine with AOAOs, but it didn't really do much for me. Overall, it's just not one of my favorites on the record.
So I think I'm all by myself on this one. I actually love everything about this song. I like how it kicks off with the vocals, that single guitar, like the claps that they sprinkle in there, and even the drum teaser before it kind of breaks into something a little bit heavier. Sitting here thinking about whether I'm convincing myself that this is a ballad or not. But overall, I think just a very strong song. Love the lead guitar and just how it carries the overall song.
Just think of swaying side to side to this song, like it would work.
I personally love the AOs on this one. That's one of those where I think Anthony's vocals just really make it work. Not typically a fan, but this is one where I think I would let it slide for sure.
Are there claps on this one? I didn't hear any claps.
The very beginning.
Oh, that makes the song that flushes it down the toilet for me. I'm sorry. I don't like claps.
I've heard that on a previous episode.
I don't like people claps. Maybe it's like the artist claps are different, but I don't like when people clap to a song. That's what makes me mad the most.
Except Turpentine.
That's more of like a snap.
Oh, those are solid claps on that song, though.
Those are
it
claps.
Sounds like a clap because Tom DeLonge has really long fingers, and when he snaps his fingers, it sounds like a clap.
Hearsay.
Okay. Well, thankfully, we can move on to the next song, right?
Thankfully.
You like that, right? This one has a great tempo too. Like this is another one of those melody driven, vocally perfect songs to me. Like he just drives this song all the way through and does an amazing job with it. I like the short burst riffs. I call them short burst riffs with the beats in between. So when I say beats, I mean like a pause. So you have that, and then there's a quick pause, and they do it again. I kind of really like that. So that was one thing that stuck out to me. And this was at the beginning of the song. I don't think that necessarily went through the entirety of the song, but it was something that caught my ear, like kind of just at the beginning. And I really also like the run-on sentences in this one too. Like, you know, we mentioned that before. I think it may have been Steve that said that, but I get that it's, you know, the long lyrical strings or run-on pieces. It's really funny how you think about that and how you probably would think to yourself like that wouldn't work. It would be all over the place. It would sound weird. It doesn't feel like it fits. But this band and the way that it's sung, it fits perfectly. So I think that is a testament again to the theme that was said at the beginning of this album, where, you know, I think the vocals really were a big part of why I was so attracted to it. But all in all, again, this was I thought it was another great song. It brought me back after the last one, and this gets a 1.5 stars.
Go ahead, Sam.
I think I agree with a lot of that. But for me, considering how much I liked the previous song, I don't know that it really brought me back as much as just feeling a little neutral on this one. Really don't have too many thoughts. This is probably lyrically one of the stronger songs that I really enjoyed. And I can see your points on some of the vocal strengths here too, but not a whole lot to this song for me.
Yeah, the way the song starts off, it kind of sounds like it should be in like a movie montage. It starts off like really fast and like things are moving. I think overall though, the whole song didn't really grab me that much. I think I just I don't know. I don't really think I like the chorus. It's not a banger. The chorus is not a banger. My favorite part of is the bridge where he sings fast and frantic. Chris, you said run on sentences. I like that part. I think this is probably, you know, where it should be in the album here at number 10. It's not one that really stands out all that much. It's still fine to listen to though.
Cool. All right. What about the next song, Art of Passage? What do you guys think about this one?
It's funny. This one like cuts in real fast. Were you about to say something? Go ahead.
Not me.
Yeah, you looked like you were about to say, like I interrupted you.
No.
Oh, no.
No, okay. This one like seems to cut in real fast. Like if you take a breath and you blink, it kind of sounds like, thankfully, goes right into this one. I think this one is really strong lyrically. I like the lyrics of the chorus a whole lot. It's very dark. It's very sad, but it's very like self-actualized. And Chris, I think you brought up the word crooner in a previous episode. The word crooner shows up here. Maybe it's a driving crooner. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And this one kind of sounds like it's almost one of them like 90s sounding songs. So I dug this one. I thought it was good.
I agree with a lot of that. This, believe it or not, this is actually the first song I ever heard off this album. I tend to listen to albums on random, and this happened to be the first song that came on, got me somewhat into the rest of it. I like the cut, the back that's kind of sprinkled throughout the song. Strong chorus. Overall, pretty good song. Not a whole lot that stood out to me, but it's a good one.
Cut that. That's the first thing I thought of, by the way.
You were waiting for that. He was waiting 11 tracks for that.
Oh, it's so good.
Should have gone so first. Good.
I like when you like guys like when he goes high in this song. Like he goes real high with a word. I forget which one it is, but I don't hear him go that high in any of the other songs, and I love it. It's only one word, but he brings it up an octave, and he does a good job with that. I really could imagine myself singing along to this song every time it's on. So I think that's obviously just a huge star to what the song is. And it has a dropout part, which I'm always a sucker for, when the music drops out behind the lyricist or whatever it is. Song's kind of dark though, guys. Like if you look at the words to it, it's pretty dark song with the subject matter. But hey, we've listened to dark songs before and we've been okay. So not
You bring up a
go ahead.
Sorry, you bring up a good point with the higher vocal range. That's definitely something that I appreciate too. And maybe I think that you're kind of pinpointing my issue with some of the layered vocals. It's just how much lower pitched they are in this album. When you listen to some of the other Bayside albums, they still layer some stuff in there. There's still some harmonies to it, but Anthony's vocal range definitely goes way higher, and it just works really well. So you just thought I'd mention that because you called it out on this song, and it's a good note.
So we don't hear a lot of it here, is what you're saying, in this album, but it's there in other albums. Okay. I hadn't heard it before, so that's why it kind of surprised me. It's like, whoa, okay, there it is. He can do it.
Yeah.
Let's hear more. You have to do if you can do a playlist of all of the songs where he goes super high, just those songs though. I'd appreciate that.
I can do that for you.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah. Or you can burn it onto a CD.
I would love to burn you a CD.
I think I can still do that. I think I still have the means to do it. I think so. I don't know.
Then we can slow dance.
I still have a VHS tape player. I can still watch those. I don't know if I have any. All right. So popular science, popular. Like that? I like it.
I like it when bands do different things with capitalizations.
I'm head of the class. I'm popular. It's a cool title. It's like kind of like a gallopy song. Like the tempo there is probably what stands out most to me. Other than that, guys, I didn't get into this one as much. Nothing really noteworthy. I don't know. Last song on the album, okay to listen to, but it didn't knock my socks off.
Good.
I said
you don't like your socks to be knocked off. Yeah, I thought in the beginning there was kind of like a Western, like guitar line kind of vibe. It seemed kind of Westerny. Yeah. I don't know if country is the right word, but I don't know. I wrote Western. To me, the song is it's just a bit chaotic, and I really just don't know what to make of it. It's not one of those last songs on an album that really like kills it and draws me in and makes me remember it. Like there's a total change of vibe in the like second half of this song. It completely changes, and maybe just because I've listened to the album a whole bunch of times, so maybe I didn't get to this song every single time. Maybe it deserves more. I don't know. Sam, you tell me. Does it deserve more love or?
Now, so just like I was critical of that number 8 spot, the closing track on an album has to be a banger too, and this one just wasn't it for me. It's not a terrible song, but I just didn't think it fit for the closing spot. Something that stood out to me on this song that I just didn't love is the rhythm guitar. I don't know why. I just couldn't really get behind it. Kind of the chaotic description that you're giving it. Not anything I latched on to for sure.
All right. Well, that's the end of the album, and it's time for Steve's game. I got a game, and it has a ridiculously long title, the same way that Chris's early game does. It is called, on the last show that Bayside played as kind of like a headliner show, how many songs off of this album did they play, and which ones were they? Did you guys get that? Do I need to repeat the name of the game? Or
yes,
did you
please.
You got
Can
it?
you repeat it one more time?
The last time that Bayside did a headlining tour, how many songs off this album did they play, and which songs were they? And I'm taking this off of a set list from May 4th of this year at Terminal 5 in New York City. So that's their hometown, their home market. And they played 21 total songs, including the encore. So I will give our guest, Sam, the first guess. How many songs off of The Walking Wounded did they play?
I'm going to say 4.
All right, I'm going to put that in my pocket, and then I'm going to ask Chris his answer.
5.
Okay, well, if it's Price is Right rules, you both lose, because they only played 3 songs off of this record. which is somewhat surprising. But again, they've been around for 20 years. They have 9 albums. So now we're going to move along to the second segment of this particular game. And of the 3 songs that they played from this album, which songs were they? And now we're going to give Chris the first guess, and you're going to go back and forth. So, Chris, name a song of the 3 they played from this record.
Duality.
That is correct. Sam,
What
keep
an
it
easy
going.
guess.
Yeah, he took the easy one.
Yeah. They're not horses, they're unicorns.
That is also correct. And now all of the pressure is on Chris to keep this a perfect game, a 3-for-3 game.
1-1.
That's not the name of the song, but you're right. Yes, it is I and I. Yeah, they're not horses, they're unicorns, Duality, and I and I. Those are the 3 that they played off of their set from May 4th, 2024 in New York City. Thank you for playing.
You know what?
Nice job, Chris.
I think that, yes,
Nice job,
well,
both of
actually,
you.
that was a team effort. We should high five if we could. And usually I would get frustrated over a game at that point in time. But I'll tell you what, Steve, that was a fun game. That was a fun game.
And it was a
really
good title
fun
to the game, too.
That kind of brings us to the next segment of the show. And it pretty much is the last segment. However, it is one of my favorite segments, if not my favorite segment of the show. Yes, that's right. It's called Ranking It. Everybody knows what that means. If you don't know what that means, I will tell you. We're going to rank our top 3 songs on this album. And to do that, we're going to start with our guest like we normally do. So, Sam, off of the album The Walking Wounded by the band Bayside, in order, what are your top 3 favorite songs?
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. 3, you're going to hate me for this one because you're probably not going to agree with this list at all based off of the individual breakdown on songs. So sitting at the number 3 spot is 1 and or I and I. Sitting at the number 2 spot is Landing Feet First. And sitting at the number 1 spot for me is They're Not Horses, They're Unicorns.
I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. I thought maybe there was a couple others in there that would have went in that top 3, but that's a tough thing to do.
I'm curious to hear yours.
All right. Well, I normally go last because this is my segment. So I choose Wingman Steve to go next. And you
Very
know the rules,
possessive.
Steve.
Yes.
You-
I'm going to
the
break
rules.
the rules because I actually thought, I mean, there were 5 that I really wanted to put up here, and I'm not going to get that crazy, but I am going to give an honorable mention, a number 4, to Carry On. I really liked Carry On, so that's my honorable mention. Number 3, I'm going to give to the opening track, The Walking Wounded. I think it just kind of like burrowed into my brain and earwormed in there, and I really like it. Number 2, I'm going with Unicorns. They're not horses, they're unicorns. I agree with you, Sam. That song is absolutely fantastic. But my favorite song, I think, on this album is Head on a Plate. It was weird and cool, and I really dug it. So that's my number 1.
Love it.
I had a really hard time with this, guys, because I want to go so many different ways with this top 3, but I think I'll stick to my initial thought process here. And number 3 is going to be They're Not Horses, They're Unicorns. Number 2 is The Walking Wounded. And number 1 is 1 otherwise known as I and I, as you guys like to say. That could have been, so just to give a little background, I wanted to put Duality in there so bad. I don't like Duality better than They're Not Horses, They're Unicorns. So if that's my number 3, it doesn't make sense for Duality to fit in there anywhere else. So
Should have done an honorable mention.
I mean, you have to follow rules. The rules are in place for a reason. You can't just go around breaking rules.
I added an honorable mention. I didn't add I didn't break the rule.
Fair enough, but that is that I'm not even going to be combative. I'm out of energy, but what I'm not out of is something else that I can't think of right now. But guys, that's it. We did it. We got through ranking it. Awesome job. We didn't have 3 different lists though. I think they were similar.
There was
They
a
just
lot of
weren't the
overlap.
same. Yeah, but I think that's a testament to the album overall. I'll just give you my overall opinion. I thought this album was just amazing. I really, really, really enjoyed this album. Something about just the overall feel of it just again clicked with me. I'll say it again. That happened before on this show with some other albums, and I continue to listen to them to this day on a very frequent basis. A lot of the stuff with I don't know, just Deja Entendu, but like that album I listened to before, but I really, 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 really started getting into it over the past, 5 years, even more than I did before. So this is going to be another one of those albums that I think I'm really going to keep on constant because of the way that I felt about it, the way that I felt about it listening to it for this exercise. So I think that listening to that new Bayside album, Sam, when you put that in front of me, I'll give you all the credit in the world. You put it in front of me, I listened to it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. This just kind of solidifies my feeling about this band and how much I really like this band. And I would really like to see them live someday. So hopefully I get a chance to do that. But I'll stop gushing about it. That's my feelings on this album. Guys, I don't know if you have any final thoughts.
Yeah, they're road dogs, so I would surmise that you'll probably see them again. And Chris, good pick. You picked this first one in Victorious, and you picked the band, you picked the album, and I really liked listening to it. I will say that I feel like it's a little bit of kind of like a relatively top-heavy album. I feel like towards the end I faded a little bit overall, but it was a really good album, and it does make me want to listen more to Bayside. And Sam, let you kind of wrap up, but I also wanted to ask you, as somebody who knows more of the discography, like, is this representative of everything? Is this in the top tier? Are there ones that you would say, no, listen to this one and you'll be blown away?
So funny you mentioned that the top heavy comment, because I couldn't agree more with that. I think there is an element of this album being top heavy. And oddly enough, when you go from Killing Time, which is their 2011 release, forward, I can confidently say that you can listen to those albums front to back and not feel like anything is top heavy or bottom heavy. It's just a perfect mix. So I think it's a great album overall. Lots of really solid tracks sprinkled throughout. Definitely not their best album, but it definitely something that would help jumpstart somebody into the Bayside family. So I definitely recommend checking out the rest of the albums.
Awesome. Steve, go ahead.
That's it. We're done.
We are done. We are done. So excited about what's up and coming here, what's next to come with the mini series, or the series that we're calling Victorious, talking everything and anything about Victory Records. I always say I'm not going to spoil it, so I'm not going to do it. Steve might, but I'm excited. And for all of you out there that really enjoyed what they heard today, enjoyed Victorious, enjoyed High School Never Ends, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you think about the show, about Victory Records, about Bayside, about The Walking Wounded. And really the best place to do that, well, it's one of the places, not the best place, but one of the places is through all the socials. You can get to us through our hub. It's www.hsnepod.com. That'll give you the links to all of our socials: Facebook, Insta, X, I almost said Twitter, and I don't know where else we're at. Those are the only 3 I can think of.
Yeah, those are good. We're also on Discord, so if you want to join the Discord server, you can chat with us in like somewhat real time in our little community that we've built about music and life and all that other good stuff. Wherever you are listening to us on your podcast player, if it's Apple Podcasts, it would be very cool if you gave us a 5-star review, 5-star rating, and then if you want, you can write a written review. Spotify also has that kind of stuff as well, so that helps us with the algorithms and things like that, and it also helps helps us with our bank accounts. If you were to buy some High School Never Ends merch, you can go to hsnepod.com and you can get a hat or a mug or a t-shirt or a hoodie, and you can support us and you can support the Dragon Wagon Independent Podcast Network where you're listening to us right now. Sam, anything you want to plug before you say goodbye?
No plugs. Just wanted to say thank you for having me. Tons of fun.
Absolutely. It was fantastic. We will have you back, and we're going to be back next week. I'm not spoiling anything. Another victorious episode. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods. Throw up your rock hands and blast the pop punk.
Hey, thanks for listening to Dragon Wagon Radio. If you're enjoying this show, check out dragonwagonshop.com and get yourself some sweet merch while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. That's dragonwagonshop.com.
It's Dragon Wagon.